Welcome to Conversations with Ann Elizabeth, the podcast inspired by my book, I'm a Registered Dietitian, Now What?, where I have the absolute joy to sit back, relax, and have a conversation about nutrition with a variety of people who share their personal story of passion and purpose, especially registered dietitians. Today's conversation is with Deanne Lynch, an RD2Be who chose dietetics as her third career and will be starting her dietetic internship in a couple weeks. Deanne and I connected after the Michigan Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics Spring Conference by sending me a lovely email about her passion for dietetics. I knew I wanted to learn more about her and her journey. Not only is this a third career for Deanne, she also is a spouse and a mother to 2 children. Deanne was a member of the Marine Corps, went to culinary school, and along the way discovered her passion about dietetics. She will be starting her internship with Iowa State University in a couple of weeks, and I'm very happy she shared her journey with me so far. Please enjoy my conversation with Deanne. But back to where we started with Deanne, you were talking about your dad was a chef, so food was a big part of your life with your family, and then you went to the military after high school. And then how long were you in the military for?
I was in for 4 years.
Okay. What branch did you go into?
The Marine Corps.
The Marine Corps. Wow. How did you that's like a very different, culinary school and then military. How did you kind of come up with that decision?
I know. So I went to one restaurant school and looked at that in high school with my dad. And I thought, oh, this is so amazing. And this is what I want to do. And then it was a career day in high school, just 3 months after 9/11. And the Marines were there. And I just thought, you know what? I think that's what I want to do. And I joined right then in my senior year.
That's really amazing. Thank you. I'm sure that's on the spot is like their dream to have someone be like, yep, I'm signing up.
It was kind of crazy because I also got 4 of my girlfriends in high school over the next 6 months to join the Marine Corps as well. So there was 5 of us that went into the Marine Corps after high school that year.
Oh my God. That's crazy. They must have had a slight interest too. And that you just kind of took it. You just did it. And so you inspired them, I'm sure.
Yeah. So when I was getting out of the Marine Corps, phasing out, I applied to culinary school. And like I said, I wanted to go, but at that time, the GI Bill was different than what it is now, which is, our funding for college. They were going to offer me, I think, $45,000 for school. And the bachelor program at the Art Institute was $100,000.
Oh my, I did not realize it's that expensive.
I know. And you don't make that much money as a chef. So.
Right?
Yeah.
There seems to be it's kind of like dietetics though, in a way, you spend a lot of money on school and then sometimes those opportunities aren't as, the pay isn't that great when you start out. So hopefully that gap is starting to close, I would hope.
Right. And I don't know that all culinary schools are the same, but I think the big ones are. I know we have a school here in Michigan called Schoolcraft, and a lot of people go there, and that's a fraction of the cost. They pay much less. So I don't know why it's so high.
Wow.
So that kind of scared me away. I didn't want to take out student loans. I just went in the Marine Corps and I didn't expect to pay for college. So, and I had 2 kids. I had my children while I was in the Marine Corps.
Oh, you did. You had 2 little ones.
Yeah.
Well, nothing like having a full plate.
That's life, right?
It is. And I feel like it's a very similar between all dietitians. We all like to just take on a lot of stuff. So I feel like you're right in line with the dietetic profession. Let's do a career. Let's have children. Let's have a spouse. Let's just make it all happen.
You are absolutely right. That's how it goes. That's how we're all connected. We're all overachievers.
I think so too. I think you're so right. Oh my goodness. So then you had your 2 little ones and you got out of the Marine Corps, and then the whole culinary thing was just a shocker. And then how did you kind of step onto dietetics?
So I ended up years later, after moving overseas and coming back, and I went back to the same school, and the GI Bill had changed at that time, and I got to go to culinary school. So I did that for 2 years and graduated, and then moved to Michigan. Like a couple days after I graduated, because my husband was actually in the Marine Corps as well. And so he was getting out just 2 years ago. And so we moved back to Michigan, and I got a job at the VA hospital in Detroit. And the job was in the call center, but the job description was, it was something like diet clerk, helping people select their food choices. You know, I'm like, oh, well, that sounds kind of interesting. It's based on their health condition. It's in the kitchen somehow. Like, I didn't really have any idea what this job was. And I had interviewed for it like over the phone, because I was living in San Diego when I applied for the job. And then I moved here and started. And on that job is when I realized I got my ID card, and it said like call center dietetics. I'm like, what is dietetics? Like, I never heard of this in my life.
That's crazy.
I know. Is it though?
Yeah, that is kind of crazy.
So
that's did
where
you just kind of like start researching? Yeah. Did you just kind of start researching then? Like, what is it all about, or what's more about this profession?
I didn't research at all. Not at that time. So when I started working, I realized I worked with all the dietitians there. So it was then I realized, like, oh my gosh, so dietetics, a dietitian, this is what they do. I was so fascinated by what they did. It was after starting that job. And within a month of starting that job, I researched the dietetics program. I mean, anyone that had a possible opening for me in where I was, I spoke to them. I spoke to the academy. I mean, it took me a good 2 months to figure out really what it took to be a dietitian, because there's so much.
There is. And, you kind of navigated it on your own then.
All on my own. Yes, I know. It was kind of crazy, because I was, the VA was still going to pay for my schooling, and I had to give them like a plan of study, to let them know like the whole process. And I was all set to go to a college close by. And after registering and everything, I realized this was just like a health and wellness degree. And I was going to have to go on and get a master's degree and do the didactic theory. This school didn't have it. I'm like, oh, wait, no, I can't do that. I have to go to the school.
Yeah, you're like, I don't want to do that. No, because that would have just taken you much more time to complete everything.
I know. And they weren't willing to pay for it, because at the time, a master's was not required to be an entry-level dietitian. So it was like they were only going to do a bachelor's program. So I had to find a bachelor's program that had it. And so I ended up going to Madonna, which is Madonna University is just outside. It's 20 minutes outside of Detroit. So it's like an hour and 15 minutes from me.
It is. So where do you live then?
I live in Oakland, Michigan, which is, it's like an hour and 15 minutes north of Detroit.
Okay. Oh my gosh. So is it a 4-year university that has a didactic program or a dietetic program?
Yes. So it's smaller. It's a Catholic university. It's 4 years. So classroom sizes are very small, which was amazing. And they have the didactic program, but it's not coordinated, so you still have to go through DICUS and the whole application process and worrying whether or not you're actually going to move on.
Yes, which is stressful, which just happened this past Sunday. Yes. You probably might have some people that that went through that process.
Yes, it's such a scary process.
It is. So when you got into, so you applied, went to Madonna. Now, are you still working then at the VA, or are you now a full-time student?
So it was a really crazy time. I worked at the VA for a year still, and I was actually taking prereqs at a community college close to home. So I tried to limit the drive for as long as I could. So and Madonna was so great about working with me, telling me which classes I was going to be able to take away before I could actually, before I had to start at the university. So I did that for about 6 months, and then I started at Madonna, and I left the VA because I was only working part-time there, and I needed we were trying to buy a house. We were just transitioning from the military. We were trying to buy a house. So I needed to get a full-time job. So I was working full-time at a bakery. And I started school at Madonna full-time. And
oh my gosh.
I know. I did that for about 6 months. And then I stopped working, and I did like some personal chef stuff on the side for a while. And then I actually did something completely different than dietetics, just something. I worked at GM part-time in like their warranty center, just, customer service, just to make money, but get a flexible schedule so that I could focus more on school.
On school. Yes. I can understand that. Because it's all about timing, right? Like you have to be able to balance it. You have a family, you have school, you need to have a job. So it's like, you just can do what you can do, right?
Yes. It was hard, because everybody was doing a job that was relevant. And I was so worried that I was making a mistake, doing this thing outside of dietetics. But I also wanted to be able to volunteer and, be a part of the school organization. And I couldn't do that in like most of the jobs that students have while they're in school, like the call centers and this and that. They just don't pay enough for a mortgage. So.
Yeah. Right. And that's an important thing to kind of remember, I think, as you are a student. Like sometimes it's okay that you have to take care of yourself first and foremost. Everything else will fall into place at some point.
Yes, you are absolutely right. And it did. So
that's good. So, well, and I love that you still went to culinary school. I think that's amazing. I'm kind of jealous. I think that would have been an awesome experience. Did you enjoy culinary school?
I loved it. It's so much harder than you imagine. Physically exhausting. It was so much work. Yes. Yes. But I absolutely loved it. And I knew when I went to culinary school that wasn't like the end all for me. I never wanted to be a chef, like in a restaurant working until midnight, on the line. I loved food so much, and I wanted to learn as much as I could, about it. So
well, it sounds like you kind of did it to work. Ultimately, you didn't realize that dietetics was a thing yet. So you already knew that wasn't the only thing. And then you found dietetics. So they complement each other so well.
I know. And I had no idea. And it's becoming more of a thing now. I realize there's a lot of dietitians now going that route, doing both of them. But I remember talking to the dietitian at the VA hospital when I was learning about dietetics, and she told me, it's so rare. There's not many that go to dietetic school and also have culinary school. So they're going to love you. So
totally.
I was so happy.
Totally. Yes. So how far are you into your degree then?
So I graduate next month from Madonna.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Yay.
I know. I've been in school for a long time. Like it takes 120 credits to get a bachelor's degree. I have 220 undergrad credits from all of my schooling.
Oh my gosh, lady.
I've been in school for a long time.
You must like school though. It must be something you enjoy.
I do. I love learning. It's important. And I definitely chose a profession where I get to learn forever. So
that's very true. So did you get matched then on Sunday?
I did. I got matched. I only applied to Iowa State, and I got matched to Iowa State.
Oh my gosh. That is awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So tell me about what you thought when you were sitting there waiting to find out if you got accepted.
It was so crazy because, everybody I talked to, all my friends applying, they're like, you have nothing to worry about. You're fine. You're like, but am I? You just don't know. You never know. And, at 7 p.m. is when because it's 6 p.m. Central Time that they posted. So it was 7 p.m. here for me on the Eastern Time. And I was actually picking my daughter up from the movies at that moment. And I was like refreshing the page. And she got in the car and I said, Hannah, 23 seconds until I can find out if I got my internship. So if I start crying and I have to pull over, she's like,
oh, Mom, like, okay.
I know. Her friend's in the car with her too. She's laughing at me. She's like, Mom, why don't you just wait until we get home and you can do it with Dad? And I'm like, you're smart. Okay, I'm going to wait till I get home. So, 5 minutes later, I get a phone call from one of my closest friends, and she got her first pick, and she's so excited. I can hear like the tears in her voice, and I'm like, I don't know yet. I'm waiting. She's like, what?
You're like, I know. It's the whole thing.
Right? You wait all this time to find out, and you're not going to check.
You're waiting to get home to do it.
Yep. I waited. So I got home and we're sitting at the dinner table and I opened it up and it's like, congratulations. I'm like, oh my gosh, I got it. And my husband, he congratulated me. The kids are here. It was just a very exciting moment.
Oh my God. Congratulations. That is so exciting. Yes. Oh my gosh.
That feeling that that you got matched, it's unbelievable. I know people outside of our profession have no idea what that means, but after all that work, it's like it all comes down to this right here. So,
sure. And then you kind of reflect back and you're like, all the part-time jobs I worked and driving to school and going to the classes. And then that moment right there is like, no wonder people cry because you're just like so overwhelmed with all the things you've done. It's like finally a release and a reward for your efforts.
Yes, it definitely is. And, it's so scary because there's just not that. We have a small class at Madonna. It's a small college, but the match rate is normally 50. They said this year it's a little bit higher. It's about 60 or so. And
that's good.
It was true. Like there was 10 of us, I think, that applied and 5 of us got internships and 5 of us didn't.
Oh, that's hard.
Yeah.
That is hard.
So yeah. I'm definitely grateful.
Class. You guys are absolutely, so you guys are really close as a small class too.
Oh, we are very close. Dietetics graduating students, I think there was 18 of us. There's 18 of us that are going to graduate. The university graduates about 1,000 students, I think. But as far as dietetics, there's 18 of us. But so not all of them applied right now. Some of them are going to go on to grad school first. But yeah, so everybody knows each other. It's very small.
Very small. Once you got into the program, did you love everything about it? Did you enjoy the classes? How did you feel about choosing dietetics?
So, in the beginning, so I didn't have to take a lot of the lower level classes because I had that culinary arts degree. So it was tough because the first 6 months at Madonna, I didn't know anyone in dietetics. Even though it's so small, I just wasn't connected because I was just taking chemistry and some gen eds. Oh, yeah. And I almost died in organic chemistry.
Oh my gosh. That class is the worst. I agree with you. I think I almost did too. Aw.
It was so horrible. You get to the point, I'm like, I don't think this is for me. If this is what I need to know, I can't do it. There's no way.
I understand. I totally understand that feeling.
Yeah, it was tough. It was actually... It's kind of crazy. I didn't do well in organic chemistry. I took it as a summer course, my first summer at Madonna, and I actually took 2 other courses with it. And I shouldn't have done that because it was accelerated because it was during the summer, and I was taking it with 2 other classes. And I had a job, and my kids are home over the summer. And even though I was putting all this time into it, it was just so hard. I wasn't getting it, and I didn't do well. And so I questioned whether or not I was going to continue with the program. And it wasn't until the day classes started for fall that I decided I was going to keep going. And that semester was my first set of nutrition classes. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I kept going because I love this. It was so amazing to learn nutrition assessment and, experimental foods and nutrition counseling. I loved every one of those courses. And
you just got to get over the hump. You just got to get over the organic chemistry hump and the biochem and all that stuff, because that is the toughest
part really
about being a dietitian. Mm-hmm.
You get into these nutrition classes and I'm just like, they're a lot of work, but they're so easy compared to that. I mean, because you love it so much. Like, I got my first nutrition physiology book and I wanted to just sit down and read it from front to back, on my own time.
Yes, so that definitely screams you love nutrition. It's hard, but it's easy. Like, it's interesting. Like, it is hard stuff to learn, but since you're so passionate about it, it seems easy.
Yes. I mean, and I love it. And so I went on, through that semester with those classes. I did excellent, all A's. I retook organic chemistry, got an A. I was so much happier and moved on to bio, and everything was great.
Good job. That's awesome. And I'm so excited. So tell me what are you most excited about for the internship?
Oh my gosh. So I'm kind of excited to narrow down what I don't want to do, because I'm not exactly sure what I want to do.
That's okay. That's what your internship's for, right?
Yes. I know you went through Iowa State's program, but I know that they have an on-site program and they have a nationwide program. Did you know that?
Yes.
So did you do the nationwide?
I did the nationwide because I actually was in Nebraska when I did my internship. So all of my experiences were in Nebraska.
Okay. So I chose the nationwide program. And one of the most exciting things is that I only have to drive 15 minutes to my internship. So
lovely.
Yeah. So for a lot of reasons, I chose Iowa State. So I'm excited that I've already met all my preceptors, and I know what to expect, and I know that I'm going to be able to learn from them. So that is kind of, that wall is broken down already. I'm not worried about that. And I got to choose my experience. I got to choose my experiences, which you don't get from a lot of these other internships. Some of them have a focus, like they'll focus on sustainability or community or whatever, but that really is only down to like 1 week. The rest of it's, we all have the same requirements. So it was a little bit different choosing your own preceptors. So I'm really passionate about community nutrition and policy. And so I get to choose, one of my community preceptors is the executive director of Detroit Food Policy in Detroit.
Awesome.
Yes. So she's actually also the incoming president for our local dietetic association. And so I'm really excited to be able to learn from her. I'm not going to be in a hospital the whole time. I get to go out into the community and learn about really like what it takes to affect policy, affect nutrition policy, nutrition education. So I'm really excited for that rotation.
That's awesome. So you had to find all your preceptors.
Yes.
Was that stressful?
Yes. It is stressful.
I would think so.
Not all of the distance programs are like that. You don't have to find your preceptors ahead of getting matched for a lot of them, but for Iowa State, you did. So it was like, okay, you got to get this DICUS thing figured out, but you also have to find all your preceptors and get them to fill out paperwork.
Right. And actually talk to them and see if they'd be willing to take on an intern for the next amount of time. And
Yes. It helps, again, I know everyone hears it in this profession, connections are everything. And they really were for this. Reaching out to the people that I knew and the dietitians that I worked with. I volunteered with this one dietitian and through a program, Cooking Matters. Have you heard of Cooking Matters?
Yes, that's a great program. I was thinking of you when you were talking about your culinary and your culinary background too. I was like, God, that would be a great program for her.
I spent 9 months with Cooking Matters, so I worked with them a lot. Yeah.
Oh, that's so neat that you did that.
Yeah, it was really a great experience. I preached about Cooking Matters to every dietetic student at my school. I was always trying to encourage people to sign up. I was unique because they need culinary instructors a lot. There's a lot of nutrition students willing to volunteer their time, but not everybody can do the culinary portion. And I was able to do that. So they reached out to me a lot to step in and teach culinary. I actually only got to teach nutrition for like one of their 6-week series. I was always doing culinary, but I was still a part of it, so it was a really great experience. Cooking Matters. So
That's really awesome.
My first Cooking Matters was the nutrition instructor was a dietitian. She had just retired, and she was such a sweet woman. Her name was Nancy Geik, and I reached out to her when I figured out I had to find out my own preceptors, and she sent me a list of like 8 people that she was friends with that she thought might be able to precept for me, and I reached out to all of them. And the one that I ended up securing for most of my internship, she was a friend of a friend, but she was so excited to precept for me. She's like, oh, I just want to pay it forward. You know, yes, I'll do all your clinical. I'll do all your food service. Send me the paperwork. I'll have it done tomorrow. So, I mean, it was like a blessing.
Yes. And it's so close to home too.
Yes. Which it's really hard because this area in Michigan, there are a lot of internships, but it is so saturated. So it is really hard to find an internship in a hospital that isn't already affiliated with one of these big schools.
That would be tough.
So yeah, this preceptor that I'm working with, she actually is affiliated with 2 of the schools, but she's not taking an intern during the window because Iowa State has their internship over the summer, which isn't common. You know, a lot of them wrap up in the summer. So it just worked out perfectly.
Oh, I'm so glad. So you start in June then, won't you?
June 2nd, I have to come to Iowa.
Oh my gosh. That's right. You have to come, what is it, for a few days or is it a full week?
It's a full week. So, 5 days, right? So I'll be there 6 days, to do that's part of your internship, that first week of orientation. And really, I'm not sure everything that I get to expect yet because I don't get the information until next week. It's all so new.
Oh my gosh. You just sound like you're on cloud 9. I'm so happy for you.
Thank you. I am. I'm so excited.
Are you driving or are you flying into Des Moines?
I think I'm going to fly. It's like a 9-hour drive from where I am because I'm on the east side of Michigan. So,
okay.
Yeah. So I think I'll fly.
Well, if you fly into Des Moines, where I work, the grocery store I work at is right by the airport.
Oh my gosh.
You have to stop and come. We'll have to meet in person because
Definitely.
If you're there, yeah, I would love for you just to swing by my grocery store and just so we could at least meet and see each other in person. I would love that.
That would be so awesome. And I am flying into Des Moines. Are you working on the weekends?
Right by me. Some weekends I do work. Yes.
Okay.
So it just kind of depends on the weekend that you will be coming. So just let me know and I'll be there. I'll just be there.
So crazy.
Yeah. It's right by the airport. It's crazy how close it is. You can walk there from the airport. Okay, good. Oh, I'm so excited. We get to meet in person.
Yes. And I didn't meet you, but I did watch you at the Michigan conference.
I was there. I know. That's why I was like, I didn't get to meet you, but now I get to. So see, timing is everything. Happens for a reason, right?
I believe in that. I know, like this whole internship process was like, I'm really going to be bummed if I don't get matched, but at the same time, I get the whole summer to do nothing. And maybe that's what I'm meant to do.
Yeah, that's true. It's all about perspective. But
yes.
I think your background definitely probably helps secure that internship too, and just your hard work.
Yeah, it definitely was a lot of work, and there's still a lot to go, but I'm so excited about it.
I think we'll probably have to do another podcast after you're done with your internship and when you get into your first position and catch up on all the things that have changed.
Yes, definitely. I know. I can't wait.
Oh, it's always so good to hear that there's just lots of positive things around becoming an intern, all the steps that you go to get to that point.
Yes, it is a lot of steps, a lot of work, but it is so rewarding. I mean, to be able to do something that you love so much, you find out that you're going to be able to do that. That's really what it is. It's you're finding out that you're going to be able to do that. You're going to be able to work in nutrition and, do all the things that you want to do.
Do you have an idea of what kind of dietitian, like just right now, so we can make documentation of it? When you think about when I become a dietitian, what kind of dietitian do I think I will be? We'll kind of say it now, and then we'll see what happens. When you, is there one that you find that you're drawn to more, or a different area that you're drawn to?
So I am drawn to so many areas. It is really hard. So I thought up until this semester that all I wanted to do was community nutrition. I wanted to work in policy. So where is that at? I don't know. Who works in policy? I didn't know until I was looking for preceptors. So I was dead set on community. And once I got into these advanced nutrition classes and medical nutrition therapy, and I realized how much more interested in clinical I was than I thought. So now I'm like, oh, well, maybe I will actually enjoy that. And realistically, I think that I'll probably start working for the same company that I do my internship with. Just because I'm going to spend so much time with them, and my preceptor has already said to me, I think we'll probably be able to offer you a position when you're finished.
Oh my gosh. That's awesome.
Right? How am I going to say no?
Right. And it just makes you already feel valued as an intern, that they think of you as someone that's a prospective employee.
I know. I couldn't believe when she said that to me. So I'm so grateful for what they're doing, taking me on and taking the time to teach me. And if they're willing to give me a position and they need me, so I probably will step into that. Knowing that dietitians, they don't work at the same place their whole life. So,
that's another good point. Yeah, that is such a good point and such a good attitude as an intern. Like, you don't have to be at the same job for the rest of your life. You just need to try different ones out to see where you want to be. Yes.
And there's so many areas to go. Even if you work somewhere full time, there's still other avenues, to work. You can consult, right? You can do media, you can do photography, you can do blogging. I love cooking. Cooking. Yeah, right. So you take pictures of all the food that you make, right? And maybe that will be, something that I take on later on. I spent 4 years working in video game marketing, and so I love marketing as well. And I don't think that I live in an area where there's a lot of it, but if I could figure out a way to put some truth in nutrition marketing, I would enjoy that too.
You have a lot of different things you're great at.
It all comes together though, right? I feel like everything I've done, not knowing it, it all came into dietetics. Dietetics is so varied. There's just so many options. It all works.
It does work. You chose wisely.
Yes, I think so. I can bring everything I love into it. So,
yeah. And creating the experiences that you want to have is probably a great opportunity for you too, to kind of match up with that.
Yeah. I think that's key. And that's it with dietetics, right? You can choose what you want to do. You just got to figure it out and make it happen. That's what it comes down to.
Well, and you found a way being a mom. You're like Superwoman, mom, and you worked and you're in the military. You rocked it, lady.
Thank you. I think we all do. I know my friends are like, how do you do all this, Deanne? I'm like, I'm nothing special. I promise you. You should see everybody else in my program. We all do the same thing. Yeah.
Dietitians are just cool. We're just really awesome.
We really are. I did a program, a community health program in Flint, Michigan over the summer. There was a physician that he was a cardiologist who led the program. And he was saying to us, he's like, I just really love working with the dietitians. I try and get all these doctors on board and they're so interested and yada, yada, yada. But the dietitians, they're on top of it. They always come back. They've got it all organized. They're always ready to go. And I took that as a big compliment. I'm like, you're right. We do.
We do. We 100% do. Yes. Oh my gosh. Well, I am so excited. Thank you so much for sharing your story and just all the things that you have to look forward to. You're going to have to work super hard, but I know you're going to be awesome in your internship, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for you.
Thank you so much. Me too. And thank you for the podcast.
Yeah,
really,
I bet.
Your podcast is so amazing. And I know I mentioned this in my email already, but I mean, I tell all the students at school to go and listen to your podcast because I learned so much about dietetics just by listening to you during my drive. I mean, I couldn't learn about it any other way, but learning how many options there were and how many different things there were to do in dietetics, I learned from all the people that you've interviewed. And I really, really appreciate that.
Oh, good. Well, and that's exactly why I do this. So I appreciate you saying that because, like you said, we don't stay in the same job for our whole lives. So it's good to know what else is out there and what other people are doing.
Yes.
So I have some hard questions.
I know.
Oh,
you
yeah.
do.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was just
okay. You tell me your story first.
So I remember one of the gals you interviewed. I can't remember her name, but she worked for, she created a company. It was called like PS Nutrition. Do you recall her?
Yes.
The cookie dough.
Yes. Yep. Mm-hmm.
I was
PS
driving
Snacks.
to school.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. PS Snacks. That's what it was.
Yeah.
So I was listening to that podcast on my way to school. And when I got there, I was telling one of the other students about it. And we actually got out of class early and I took her on a grocery store tour. We went to 3 different health food stores to find that cookie dough.
Did you find it?
We did.
Oh my gosh.
We did.
Did you like it?
It was so awesome. Yes, it was. It was so good. So you need to go out there and try that. Good. It was like garbanzo bean cookie dough.
Oh my gosh. I always have some in my freezer because it's like when I never know when I want a little something sweet. So
yes, very yummy.
That's good. Well, that's awesome. Well, that made my day. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Okay. You ready for the hard questions?
I am.
Okay. So Deanne, why don't you share with me some of your favorite food?
Okay. So we all love food. But really, like my absolute most favorite food is pizza.
Mm-hmm.
I love pizza. And I grew up in Philadelphia, so I grew up eating East Coast pizza. So whenever I go back there, I'm always looking to find a good thin slice of East Coast pizza.
Is that okay? So East Coast pizza is thin crust?
Yes, like New York style pizza. So Philadelphia and New York are right next to each other. So yeah, it's the same kind of pizza.
Yum.
So I love that
pizza.
And I grew up eating crabs in the summer. Like Maryland blue crabs are a really big thing in Philadelphia in the summertime. You can't really go into any bar without them selling crabs. And it was a big thing in our family. And my mom would always give us the biggest crab that they could find, the biggest blue point crab, because blue crabs are small. And so, and I remember my 18th birthday, she gave me a crab that was like as wide as my shoulders. But so after crabs, I know, after the first day of eating crabs, we would use them in spaghetti. My dad would make crabs and spaghetti, which is such a weird combination, right?
It sounds good.
Oh my gosh. So it's like super spicy red sauce with the crabs cooked in with it. And then on top of spaghetti with like a crusty piece of bread and butter. It's so yummy.
Oh yeah. Sign me up. I will totally eat that anytime.
It's so good. So that's my absolute favorite meal.
Oh, I love that. So it's always, I love, just family kind of connections to food too. Like that memory of sharing a recipe or a dish with your family.
Yes. It always takes me home.
Yes. Does your family still live there?
So it's kind of crazy. Yes, some of them do. My dad is actually here in Michigan because my brother ended up oddly marrying somebody from Michigan and moving here an hour away from me, which is absolutely crazy because I moved here.
Oh my God.
Out of nowhere. Yeah. But I was just back in Philadelphia a couple weeks ago because all my friends are there. My best friend's there. My sister's there. And one of my brothers is there. So, yeah, I go back there as often as I can.
I don't blame you.
I'll be there this fall for Fancy.
Yeah, will you go for Fancy then? Yeah.
Yes, I certainly will.
Do you have a favorite beverage?
So I only drink 4 beverages. I drink water, mostly water, all the time. I can't really go anywhere without water. I like coffee in the morning, and I drink beer and wine. That's it.
That sounds like the perfect beverage palette.
That's all. I don't want anything else.
That's perfect. I like it. It's like, what else do you need, right?
Right. That's it. I mean, what else is there?
Do you have a favorite scent or a smell?
So I love, like, as far as the scent goes, I love lemongrass. Like, I use a lot of essential oils, and I like mixing like lavender and lemon and the citruses, but I really love lemongrass.
Do you diffuse like in your home?
Yes, I do all the time. Yeah. Especially when I'm studying.
So good. Oh, sure. It probably relaxes you.
It does. It's so nice. I love essential oils. I'm obsessed. The diffuser is amazing. If you don't have one, you need one.
I do. I got one for my office, and it keeps me calm.
Good.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite? Do you have favorite colors or a favorite color?
Oh, colors. My girlfriend just texted me yesterday. She says, "What's your favorite color?" I'm like, there's this color called like primrose that I like a lot. It's like a pinkish orange, but not like bright coral. But I pretty much like all colors. She's like, "You're just colorful." I said, "Yeah, I'm colorful." I love most
just
colors.
like them all.
Yeah.
Primrose.
Yeah.
I'll have to look at that color. I don't know if I've ever looked at that specific color before, but
it's
I'll
like
think
a pinky
of you
orange
when I see it. It sounds pretty.
It's very pretty.
Sounds very pretty. And then what brings you joy?
So I have a lot that brings me joy. I'm so lucky. So my kids, obviously, my son is 14. His name is Ryan, and he's super funny, and he's always making jokes about me. And I'm always like stressed out and uptight because I have all these things going on. And he's just always there to make me laugh. He makes fun of what I say a lot because sometimes I have this Philadelphia accent. Like when I say the word like Italian, he's like, "Where are you going, Mom, to get an Italian hoagie?" He makes fun of me. I love that. And I get a lot of time with my daughter. Traveling because my daughter plays travel volleyball. So I'm always traveling from state to state with her for volleyball. So I like having that one-on-one time with her. That brings me joy. And at home, I like spending time with my husband. He's also in school. So our life is very crazy. And so when there's like a Saturday morning, that we don't have to go anywhere and we can sit home with the kids and the dogs and just not do anything. I mean, I love those mornings.
They probably don't happen enough, though.
But they will soon.
Yes. Then you'll be like, what do we do with all this free time?
I know. I can't wait to just work a full-time job. It's going to be amazing.
It will be lovely. What is your husband studying?
So he's in nursing, and he's also finishing this summer.
Wow, you're like the health field at your home.
Oh, you have no idea.
Well, that's really awesome.
Yeah.
Do you have study dates?
So we actually had some classes together when we were taking prereqs, so that was kind of fun. He always blamed me for making him late, though. But it is really nice when we're studying the same kind of thing, and we're able to talk to each other. And you learn it out loud more than you learn it just reading, and so being able to talk about it with each other, he understands the body so well. So I'm fascinated by asking him about my questions and him being able to break it down and explain it to me. So we do get that.
That's a great connection to have with your significant other, because then when you want to talk about what you experience, he'll get it. He'll understand what you're talking about.
He totally does. I mean, and his sister is a surgeon, and her husband is actually in nurse anesthetist school. So when we go to dinner together, the whole table, it's like
a medical nerd table.
It certainly is. I'm like, people do not want to listen to what they're talking about.
They wouldn't understand.
No, they wouldn't. And they'd probably be grossed out because everything in the body is kind of disgusting.
Yeah. I mean, we all get it.
So,
how neat. What a great, you fit right in being that dietitian component.
Yes, we all work together. It's awesome. We could open up our own like healthcare center, right?
You could. I wouldn't doubt if that could happen. You never know.
Right.
Well, Deanne, thank you so much for sharing your journey so far. There's a lot left. I know it'll be very exciting for you, and I'm excited for you and your internship. And I look forward to connecting with you in Iowa, and I will be at Fancy this year too. So we will definitely cross paths.
I can't wait. Thank you so much, Anne.
I'm really excited to see what the future holds for Deanne, and I look forward to meeting her in person on her trip in and out of Iowa. I will definitely have a follow-up check-in conversation with her post-internship to see what she is up to. My website, AnnElizabethRD.com, is where you can read my latest Embrace the Hell Yeah blog post, as well as all my previous podcasts, show notes, and links to things we talked about during all my conversations. My book is also available to purchase on my website, and I will be featuring a new CEU component on the website soon, so stay tuned for that. And I hope we can connect on more social media by finding me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and Pinterest at AnnElizabethRD. Remember to be great always, find the joy in each day, and to start a conversation that truly matters.